Welcome to the Mental Edge. As men, we pledge to live on the edge, to discuss all things we love about being men with an infectious transparency that's laced with just the right amount of man humor.
If you're on a journey to self-development and improvement, if you're a seeker of truth or want to find fulfillment and purpose while crafting a brave and successful version of what God has for you, then the Mental Edge is for you.
That's weird.
All right, I'm not gonna mess with it. I have a habit of I always keep touching this mic for whatever reason.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah.
I see
that
myself.
mic's sexy.
A mic is so sexy. I can't let it go.
Huh? Yeah, I see it in the podcast.
Oh,
in the
man.
podcast, and I'm always like, tick, tick, tick.
Yeah, you're tweaking it.
I'm like, what the heck? One day it's gonna
tweaking
just
it.
fall off.
You got like obsessive compulsive mic disorder.
Absolutely brilliant.
It's the truth, right?
That's the thing, huh?
Yeah, let's get it popping because that's a good place to start, right?
Yeah.
So we got a
Fernando and
special
his
guest.
disorder.
Yes, his Fernando's microphone disorder.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, you see my mic, Jesse. I love you guys so much. Mine's being held on by Scotch tape.
Yeah.
I see that.
Huh? And it doesn't matter where you start, does it, Jesse? It just
doesn't.
matters that you start.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Yeah, I love it.
That's what we heard about you. So
Yeah.
we're excited about today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and before we get started, let's say who we are. My name is Jessie Casas,
I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.,
I am Jessie Casas.
and this is
the MentalEdge Podcast.
ridiculously cool music right here. Welcome to the mental edge. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And Casas, just for anyone listening that is not of Latin descent, means house. House
Yeah.
House is plural.
Yeah.
house
yeah,
is
house
right,
is plural.
which you will have many, I believe, in your
Yeah.
future, right? Many
That's really
mansions,
cool,
my
man.
friend.
I told him that. Yeah, mansions. I love that. Yeah, I told him. I was telling Jay that when I got here, I was like, dang. But Jay, he'll surprise you, man. He speaks some Spanish.
Yes.
He knows a little bit. Sí. Right?
What he said. That's right. Gracias, mi amigo. You know, when my Spanish got a little bit better, first of all, Miss Marrero, who yelled at me,
Yes.
said, Mira, acértate. Right? She yelled
Yeah.
at me all the time,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Siéntate.
And
You see,
yeah,
I told you,
siéntate.
you know- I
Yeah,
told
see,
you
I
you
messed it
Spanish.
up, but I knew what it was.
No, you did
and
it.
then I spent some time in the center plant, in the steel mill, right? And the center plant, best Mexican food I ever had in my life.
Oh, there?
Right? And they were so good to me, man. They're like, hey, he knows a little bit. We can't say everything we want to say around him. So they brought me under the wing. I'm going to teach you, kid. Right? I agree. Awesome. It was awesome to be mentored by those guys, man. But Jesse, the reason you were on our radar is because somehow, I think divinely, we were Facebook friends. And maybe you did some, I don't remember seeing you before, but I remember one day, I think, but you might have friend requested me. Which maybe that's part of one of the things you do because you are putting yourself out there. And all I know is I usually vet the people, right? And then if I like what I see from you, you definitely got to confirm for me because I've been watching you ever since.
He does. He talks
that.
about
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
He brings you up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
who is this guy? And he's like, we got to have him on the show.
Yeah, we wanted to
So,
have you, especially
appreciate that.
this summer. Well, I mean, Jesse, we're going to ask you about your far back past and how you were brought up and everything because it's important to us because honestly I was completely fatherless. Okay, like I just recently saw a picture of my dad, which was pretty cool for me. And Fernando for many years
Yep. Same thing.
thought another man was his dad.
Yeah.
So
I'm named after a guy that's not actually my dad. But I didn't know that until I was like 26, 28 years old. So yeah, we got some crazy
Awesome, right?
There's
stories.
some similarities there.
Yeah. But I think I also I mean your recent past, watching you make a full-on self-commitment and belief in yourself. And then watching it grow, and then you're not afraid to talk about it being kind of hard sometimes, and then you're always interjecting somebody we're close to, which is Jesus. Jesus, which is Jesus. So just, anything that's on your heart, any place you want to start, Jesse, we're cool with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it could go anywhere because it's all good, bro.
I mentioned before, I want to type of listen or hear an origin story, kind of like where you come from, where you were born or raised, because our listeners, for the most part, might not know who you are. So how would you introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about yourself? You can start like that. I mean, that would be great, man. Yeah. I'd love to hear something like that.
Absolutely, Fernando. To say the least, I've had a lot of hardships in life. So I grew up in southeast side of Chicago. I grew up to a man that I thought was my father. Right?
Oh, man.
Okay.
All right.
So I thought he was my dad, right?
Yeah.
So my mom, and this guy, he's selling drugs, he's pimping women. I'm watching him cook crack in the kitchen over the stove.
Right.
I'm working on cars with him till 3 a.m, going to school, getting whooped, trying to take care of the house and stuff too as the oldest sibling.
Okay.
Of 8, all in the house. Yeah. Big family. So my mother pulls me to the side when I'm like 10 or 11 and tells me, hey, Poppy's not your dad.
Wow.
So 10, 11 years old, what do you think you're thinking?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
man.
It dawned on me. I'm just crying, and I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Why did I feel so confused?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse.
And that never really changed. I always still looked at him as my dad.
That's good.
I still do to this day. So then after that, my mom planned this big escape thing from him.
Okay.
So me and all my siblings, it was like a military style operation. Insane.
To get out.
Yeah. It's like a PTSD thing. Like, sometimes it
Yeah.
comes back. But, I remember it was the day after Thanksgiving. We wake up. My mom told us to go to bed with your clothes on. Just wear your clothes to bed. Wear your clothes to bed. In the morning when your dad goes to work, we're gone.
She didn't want to waste any time, Jesse, did she?
No, she didn't. She was terrified of him,
Yeah.
And these vans pull up. We all hop in the vans, and there's big guys with guns. And I'm like, all right, this is scary, but this is cool. You're 11 years old. You're like,
it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I feel like Steven Seagal or something.
Oh, man.
So we take off, man. We actually, so this is where everything gets a little complex, and I just see the hand of God in everything.
Come on and shoot.
We come out to Valpo, and we're staying in a shelter for battered women and children, or women and children. I'm sorry, and we stay there. We moved around a few places in Valpo. I ended up moving to a side street, Wood Street. I lived there. I'll never forget the address. I caught my first case there. Some kid called me a racial slur, and, I hit him. I was 11 years old. I'm from Chicago, so we don't do that.
It's a different.
Oh, education time.
Yeah.
Right?
We had this conversation before where out here someone will push you, then the other guy pushes you back, and it's kind of like this thing. But in Chicago,
no dancing.
There was no dancing. In Chicago, somebody hits you, and you just gonna hit him right away. So we get it. Yeah. So
wow.
So you catch a case at 11.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh my God.
Assault case.
Oh my goodness.
And my mother had got word of it. I went to probation hearings and all that stuff. So that was my first case. Second case is truancy after that. Then we moved back to Hammond to stay with one of my aunts. And, there was just a lot going on. There was an episode of Jerry Springer in that episode.
Okay,
I'm not
I gotcha.
I don't even know if I want to go into detail.
No, go ahead. Yeah. Gotcha.
So anyways, my mom leaves and she ends up with my uncle.
Okay.
Which is my aunt's husband, and it was just crazy after that,
Yeah.
So then my mom, she gets infatuated with this man and kind of sends us to live with my dad, who didn't want us because he was chasing a woman in Texas.
And
wow.
dad, you mean the guy that you guys ran from?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys went back.
Yeah. Well, my mom did. My mom sent us back.
I get it.
Yeah. She would right. I get it.
Yeah.
So
and he, I mean, I don't want to stop you, Jesse, but did he love you? Could you?
I'd say
in his own way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Life is crazy.
Life is
Jesse.
rough,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So he had, he took off to Texas. He was chasing this woman, and I'm living with my grandma in the south side of Chicago again. So
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I started smoking cigarettes, and I'm hanging out with gang members.
Yeah.
And
you're what, in your early
I'm
preteens?
12.
12? This is only in 1 year.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. A lot happened.
Yeah.
This is a grooming age, right? This is a grooming age for the streets.
This is vital, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned to survive and to fit in and to make sure that I had people watching my back.
Yeah.
And I got caught with a pack of cigarettes, and this is where it changed. This is where everything changed. So I got caught with a pack of cigarettes, and they assigned me 10 days detention. Told my grandma about it. My grandma was like, all right. Well, she had lost track, obviously.
Yeah.
And I stopped going to detention. So during that time I was supposed to be in detention, I'm in the streets. I'm in the streets. I'm doing all kinds of stuff, man. 11, 12 years old, the things you see, on the streets, it's just insane.
And I'm guessing you were way older and like more mature than your normal 12-year-old.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you're probably hanging out with a lot older people.
Oh yeah.
Right? They were attracted to you,
yeah.
or you were attracted to that lifestyle or what they were doing. I get it, man. We had a conversation like this before. How old's Ryder?
He's 12. My son.
Yeah.
His son's 12 years
son.
old.
I have older kids, but
and we hear sometimes we hear stories from the people that are sitting in the same seat as you are, and I can't help but think of Ryder. He thinks of his son Ryder. I think about Ryder or my son. I got a 17-year-old son. I think, wow, man, like you're doing man stuff, but you're 12.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Including the drugs and the cigarettes and all these other things. But go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
no.
You're
good. It just kind of.
I actually love the fact that you're elaborating on that because I think it gives everybody a little more of an idea that like it's more than I'm just out there having fun. Like I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to find my way. I'm trying to know who I am.
I love the way you just said that. I was trying to survive.
Yeah, it's it. It's it. He said that was it, man.
Survival, man.
Like,
try to get fit in and make sure I'm a young Latino in South Side of Chicago, so I'm either on one side or the other.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't speak Spanish, so I'm not hanging out with the Mexicans. You know
gotcha.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like that, and my mom had came in, took us, and we ended up going to an area, in the projects in Hammond, Indiana. Stood there, and in those projects, I guess you could say, culture is like one-sided. You're either white or you're black. So I was considered white.
Yeah, I get it.
So I'm like, all right, they don't like me, so I'm gonna go kick it with the Mexicans. So I ended up hanging out with the Mexicans in North Hammond, and I got affiliated.
Yeah.
Got affiliated, got in the streets. I got sent away. My first bid, I got sent away for 9 months. I was 14 years old. And when you guys talk about stuff hitting home, like when I sit here and I talk about this, I think about my 13-year-old daughter.
Yes, you do. I believe that, Jess.
Oh my gosh. Like I was doing such wild stuff,
Yeah. That same age, yeah.
And I can't even express, how proud I am of my kids, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I've heard about this. The interrupting
I don't understand
Bulldog.
it.
I've heard about it.
He's heard about the. She used her head. You saw
I
it.
see that. That was skill. That takes skill, man.
It does. I don't
like,
know
I
how
know.
she does it. And we heard it coming, but you can't stop it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good,
Yeah,
man.
man.
You're good.
That just means she loves you.
Yeah.
Loki does the same thing.
Yeah. So I got daughters too. So like when you're telling these stories,
Jesse.
it hits home.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right, you're 14. You catch a 9-month bid. Okay, you said something about like something about a cigarette pack changed your life or something like that. I might have.
Well, I got caught with the cigarettes. And
That was a detention.
Yeah.
I got you. All right,
and
I'm
then
back.
the-
I'm back. All right.
and then everything
Yeah.
came back.
Yeah.
Right.
And I kind of stood with the habit. I started smoking weed, doing drugs, and 14 years old, I'm having male gang members come to my house. I'm having male gang members drop me off, weed at the time.
Yeah.
Hey, sell this, get rid of this. Just running the streets. It's wild. And then one of my close friends at the time, I had seen a sister because we were going to school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I seen her and I was like, man, she's so different. Man, she's so different. She's so different. You
Okay.
just got. I seen her eyes, and I told him, I say, "What's up with your sister?" Man, go ahead, just don't hurt her. And I did everything, but so that's just what you do. But anyways, I got close to her, and I really, it took me a long time. Okay, so I'm a very persistent guy, as you guys will learn. This.
Yeah.
All right.
And I was very persistent. She said, "Oh, I don't want nothing to do with you. You're my brother's friend. I know what you do in the streets. I don't want no part of this." So I'm on it. I'm like, "Hey, I'll treat you right. I'll change your life. Everything's gonna be different." And I promise to God, like, that's still my goal to this day, you know, change her life. So I gave it away.
You gave it away. Yeah. I love it. It's a love story, man. I love it.
Yeah. So I met her and you know, we hit it off. Well, you know, after me 2 months of like, hey, let me do this, you know, let me be your man, let me help you. Let me change. And you know, I'm 14 years old thinking I'm going to change this girl's life. So anyways, I you know,
maybe 14 in number, but you were advanced.
Yeah.
I was thinking,
you're taking care of yourself already, Jesse.
Yeah. Building a family, building a legacy.
Okay.
Changing everything.
Oh, I love this.
You know,
his mindset already changing. Go ahead. Keep preaching, bro.
It was just, you know, I had told her my very last day out before I had court. I had court the next day, and I knew I was going away. I told her, I said, all right, well, I'm gonna stick with you. We'll write to each other, you know, and stuff like that. And that's what we did. Well, I ended up breaking up with her before I got out. I was in Indiana boys' school in Bloomington, Indiana for 9 months. So I went there. I break it off with her before I come home because I'm like, you know, she's just not fitting for who I am and the lifestyle I wanted to live. You know, so I got out and I was just being wild. So I had hooked up with another girl and I'm like, I found out, you know, like she was just in the streets too.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was
she didn't have those eyes.
Nah, it was the eyes. It was the eyes. It was the character, man, all the way around.
It was everything.
Just quiet. Yeah,
that's awesome.
God was just good. He sent me everything I was looking for before I was looking for it. I'm telling you.
Jeez, man, Jesse.
That's
so
deep.
yeah. Man. So that's So then so let's get back to it. So I sit on my couch one day after school and I'm thinking about this and I'm like, man, she did me dirty. Like, I need somebody that's going to help me stay out of trouble because I was going to house parties. I'm getting back into the gang scene.
Yeah.
You know, I had a gun in my face recently and I'm like, all right, you know, I think I need to, you know, start talking to somebody that's a little more, you know, a church girl, you know, but she wasn't a church girl. So I ended up going back. It took another 2 months to get back.
Somebody with a little more sure footing.
Yeah.
At least more than what you had at the time, right?
And less guns in your face.
It's so. I just got to say this real quick. There's a lot of self-awareness going on with you, Jesse, at this time.
Agreed.
Because you see the lack you have, but you saw, okay, her sure footing, right? I don't have that.
Get up on your feet.
But I need that in my life.
How old is he right now?
Yeah, how old are you right now?
When you're sitting on your couch.
Well, now I had got out, so I was about 16.
16.
Jesse, 16-year-olds, I mean, you're deep thinking already.
Yeah.
You're already
and planning
putting
for the future
things together, and you're getting it already. And
and
we'll
that's what I mean.
that,
and I think that's a superpower.
I feel like we're in church right now. You guys, I mean, but it's the truth, man. God's just good like that.
Yeah. Church. Yeah, baby.
All right, so 16.
Keep going, yeah.
Yeah. I 16. You know, back.
Yeah.
It took me two months to get back right with her. You know, and say, hey, all right,
back right
all
with
right.
her.
You know, we need to do this. I want to do this with you. You know, I want to build with you.
Yeah.
You know, it took me those 2 months again. So here we are, back to square one, and we're like deeply in love, and you know, I love you. I want to change your life.
And by the way, I think that's a small price, 2 months.
Yeah.
She probably could have held out a lot longer, bro.
Yeah, she could have for sure.
Yeah. She loved you. She loved you. That's what I meant.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I meant by that.
Say,
Oh yeah, most definitely, man.
All right, so
So
you hook back up.
Then I started getting back in the streets either way, you know, because her brother's my guy, and I had seen all my friends doing stuff. Well, I'm still going to a different school at the same time.
You really don't have no mentors at the time either, probably, right?
All my mentors are gang members.
Okay,
and,
gotcha.
So I'm going to school, and in school, it was, you know, black versus Mexicans, and it wasn't so much, you know, gang related at the time, even though it was.
Yeah.
Okay, so. You know, that was one of the biggest things. Well, during that time, you know, I thought I was a bad dude. So, you know, I had weed in my house, and we lived in the projects, which is public housing at the time. And you can't have any drugs. You can't even have men in the house. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So me and my friend are there, and I'm telling my friend, you know, hey, let's order a pizza. So we order a pizza, and we're sitting there, and we're having a good time. Well, the pizza man comes, and they took forever. You know, and I end up fake robbing the pizza man. You know, with a phone.
You bank robbed a pizza man.
Fake robbed. And, you know, he takes off running. The pizza was free, by the way. Okay. And that was the only thing I got from him was the pizza.
Yeah.
But he takes off, and I'm like, you know, whatever. I didn't think about it. You know, I'm 16 years old. I'm like, okay, whatever.
So what is it? Hold on. We don't want to dismiss this. Explain. Say it again and tell us what it is. Because he said, what's a fake rob?
I fake robbed him. Like I didn't.
You didn't have a good.
For one, the pizza was free, which is the only thing we got, and for two, I used the phone.
This just in. Police are looking for fugitive Jessie Casas who robbed the pizza man with his phone. As a gun.
Yeah, it was a big old. It was a big old house phone. You know, I was
Okay, we get it, man.
I was.
This
silly,
story
man.
just got so good.
Yeah, it was just silly, man. Just silly, just so silly.
But how'd that come back to bite you in the butt?
Oh man,
because I have a feeling that that's where you're going.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
Assault with a telecommunication weapon.
Yeah. Attempted robbery.
Yeah, that was funny.
It got me.
Oh my gosh.
We left. I actually left with, a male role model that was in my life at the time.
Yeah.
And I told him, let's go pick up some weed. So we go pick up some weed. We pull back up to where you turn into the apartment complex, and all I see is blue and red. Red.
Oh no.
And my brothers and sisters are there, and my mother's there, and I was like, man, I need to make it over there, So I told him, I said, just go ahead, do your thing. I'm gonna go run to my house. As soon as I run up to the house, here comes, Hammond police with an AR-15. Put in my face, get on the freaking ground, get on the ground, and I'm 16 years old. I'm like, don't shoot me. So I get on the ground. They take me to jail for possession of marijuana. They kick my mom and my brothers and sisters out for possession of marijuana.
Oh, man.
Yeah. We got kicked out of the housing. My mom had to find somewhere to live. So we ended up in a different school district. And that's when I got involved in gang. Like, when I was really involved with it. I had hooked up with this guy. He said, hey, you want to come to my hood? And it was just like, it took off from there, man. And then in school, which is what sent me away the second time, there was a guy and he had said something about one of my friend's haircuts. So in the lunchroom, it was
just that simple.
It was just crazy. Like no words at all. Like it was just going. It was on after that, and then it was what they had called it was a gang riot. So HPD took us in. So they took me in. My mom never came to get me. They came to get the other guy, but my mom said, I was worried for your life, so I don't want to get you out because I knew how things would have been.
Mm-hmm. So you were safer.
Yeah.
Put away
containment.
than containment. Yeah. Than out.
Oh, I was wild, man.
Yeah.
I was so wild. I was, and I look back at some of the grief that I've caused my mother, and just like, wow, I'd be going crazy if my kids were doing this. Yeah. And
I get it.
You live and you learn. So I went through that, and I ended up getting sent away. So I go to Rite of Passage. Rite of Passage is in Nevada. They had to send me all the way to Nevada because they felt like nobody out here could work with me.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just crazy. So when they tell me I'm going to Nevada, I'm 16 years old. My
gosh,
probation
Jesse.
officer comes to me. I'm sitting in the cell.
You're going to another world, sir.
Yeah, they're like, you're going to Nevada for boys' school, and I was like, why Nevada? Why all the way out there? My mom can't fly to Nevada. I know she doesn't have money to fly to come see me. And then I'll never see my lady. Well, we end up getting a special visit. My day before day before I left, and I see all my cousins walk in, and then I see my now wife walk in, and I just see her, and she's supposed to be my cousin, right?
Yeah.
So I give her this hug, and the CEOs look at me like, all right, that's enough. Like they already knew.
Yeah.
They already knew that, all right, you got a few minutes, say hi, say bye, do what you got to do.
Right.
So they sent me out there, which I think was a big blessing too, because I've been able to impact and influence so many men's lives that were locked up with me at that time. Because, you go in there and you're like, yeah, I'm a changed man, but then you get out and you're not ready.
Absolutely brilliant.
To go back to your own neighborhood.
Yeah. Just
wow.
To assimilate into.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
you're ready when you're removed, but you're not ready to be inserted back into that same environment that had so much influence on you.
And I'm gonna get to a situation of my own that is very relevant to that. So I spent my time out there. I learned how to box. I learned a lot of skills. I met a lot of people. I really figured my self-esteem was way up.
Okay.
I could fight. I could confront other males when they were doing something wrong. I can appreciate my accomplishments.
Yeah.
There was just a lot to appreciate. So I come home and I'm thinking everything's good. And then I got back involved with gangs again, drugs again. I ended up in a shooting. And that was, it was just very crazy at that point. My boys went down.
I could tell in your eyes when you're talking that some of these stories will flash back to you I get the opportunity because I'm sitting right next to him, so I feel the energy, right? And I know that sometimes we get lost in that thought.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And but the other thing I'm seeing is when you snap out of it and see the victory.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That happens.
That's
the best part about this environment that we're in
is.
right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
I love
Yeah.
it. No, I love this environment. I love the talk. So we got into a shooting, and then after that, I told my wife, I'm like, man, I just got to get it together. I got to get my life together. So I ended up getting a job. I was still smoking weed. I was still, trying to stay stable, but not stable. We all lived in a studio apartment, 13 of us. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's the first time. Okay. So we'll get back. It's just crazy, man. Like, we could be here all night, but I'm going to skim through some of the stuff, coming up. So we did, I got myself together. I went and I stayed in an apartment, and then I got introduced to cocaine. Introduced to cocaine, and I said, okay, I can make money off this stuff. But then I used it, and I'm like, I kind of like this stuff, which was terrible. Okay, because that led me down a lot of rabbit holes in my life.
Gotcha.
So we had my daughter Isabella right before we had Isabella, 2 or 3 nights before, I had been on a cocaine binge like all night. And then I had got caught up in some stuff with my wife, and I was like, all right, we're done, but I just want to see my kid. I want to be involved in my kid's life, because my biggest thing growing up was my father was not in my life.
Sure.
Yeah.
And my life could have been way different had my father been in my life.
Amen.
And I don't want my kid to experience or to ever say, Dad, you gave up.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So I made a point to tell my wife, all right, I'm going to get it together. I'm going to do it. But, I ended up falling back on my own word, going back in the streets, selling drugs. Like, that was the life I knew.
Yeah.
I sold drugs. It was just all over.
And now that you've caught cases, it's probably hard to go get a 9 to 5.
Well, it was, but I'm going to talk about that too, because God's hands are all over that.
Yeah.
So we had Isabella, okay, and I'm still living wild, and I'd stepped back from selling cocaine. I'm like, all right, I'll just sell weed. I'll work a little side hustle or something like that. And then we found out we were pregnant with Juliet. And then, the whole idea with Juliet was, all right, I'm going to scrape up as much money as we can, and we're going to go get an abortion. Right? And, that never happened. Thank God. So
awesome, Jesse.
Juliet's story is amazing, okay? Because I had thought about aborting this little girl, but as soon as she comes out, I just look at her, and her hair is dark like mine. Her eyes are dark like mine. She got the face like me, and I'm just lost, dude.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like an irresponsible husband or father, but my wife is almost passing out, from loss of blood and giving birth, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm holding this baby, and I'm just stuck.
She was stunning.
Man.
The situation was stunning.
And as she grew into a little lady, like, just the way she would love so hard was just, that was just God speaking to me, like, yo, you almost gave up a gift. She's an amazing little girl right now. Both of my girls are, all 3 of them are, and we'll talk about Esmeralda in a second, because Esmeralda was my third. So I had caught my first case in November of 2009. I had just got my studio apartment. I had just bought a new car. I'm feeling like I'm doing things in the drug world. I'm like, all right, I'm making some money. This is nice. Well, I leave my guy's house. I turn a corner, and I see blue and red lights, and I was like, what? And I thought I had
every time you turn a corner, you see them
it's
blue and
just
red,
so crazy, man.
and you almost don't ever think they're for you.
No.
We're here for you again.
I'm like, I'm thinking I could talk myself out of this one, but I knew the cop he was a narcotics cop, and I was like, man, there is no way this guy's pulling me over right now.
Yeah.
So he's telling me, you mind if we search your car? And I'm thinking I'm talking myself out of it. Like, I'm going to the junkyard to get a mirror right now.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, well, your plates are bogus.
Oh, snap.
You're missing a mirror. And I technically I could search his vehicle. So he asked my sister to search her purse, and she had a bowl in her purse, which gave us away. And he's like, all right, I'm searching your car now. And he found it, and he put me in the back of his car, and he comes back to grab his camera. And he tells me, I'll never forget his words. He's like, somebody's been a naughty boy. And I already knew. I was like, man.
Wow.
So their thing was, all right, put him in, we'll talk to him. So they ended up getting me in there. They asked me, all right, are you going to, give up your guy that you just left this house? And I'm like, I'm not giving up nobody,
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right, well, we give us somebody else. I was like, yeah, I could give you somebody else. Right. So they let me out. They called me probably about a month later and was like, all right, well, we're ready for you to do some work. And I'm like, talk to my lawyer, click. And that was it. I was on the run. U.S. Marshals were looking for me. I had guys calling me, hey, they call me Peanut in the streets. Hey, Peanut, they just kicked my door in. They're looking for you. You need to get out of here, So I went to hide in South Chicago. This, prior to me going to hide in South Chicago, is when all 13 of us lived in a studio apartment at the time. And it was crazy, man. It was my two daughters, my brothers and sisters, my pops was staying with me. He had a habit, I had a habit. We just couldn't. It was just like how do you say, like those chains were so present, in that moment.
Yeah.
As I look back on it.
Yeah.
And
a lot of,
you're
lot
a
of
different
darkness too.
Yeah,
a lot of darkness. Yeah.
Oh man, most definitely. Yeah. And I actually ended up going to a darker place after that. He told me, hey, I got somewhere for you to hide. We're gonna go back in the south side of Chicago, stay over there for a little bit, lay low. And I did for a while. I went there and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna cause any trouble. I'm gonna be cool. I'm not gonna sell any drugs. Nobody wanted to work with me anyway because of
what just happened.
I just got out of jail. So nobody wanted to work with me, so I didn't have nothing. I didn't have anything. So on top of that, the person that he put us to hide with, he was a crackhead and he was a heroin addict.
Oh, man.
So
Jeez, Pete.
Yeah, so I got my two daughters. My sister's staying there with me. She's pregnant.
Pops, you got all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And
now you're living with a heroin crackhead.
Yeah.
And he's a dealer.
You know what? He wasn't dealing, but he was just...
He was on it. So, all right.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. So when you said it got really darker, this is what we're about to...
Dark.
This is where about... Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
This is dark. And so what had happened was, I was desperate for money. I'm like, I need some money. My wife's going to sell plasma to buy my baby diapers. All right. I can't do anything, She is also going to the food pantry to get food for us,
Yeah.
Prior to that, I was used to have money in my pocket, so it's like, oh my gosh.
Like Jesse, and I don't want to slow you down, but it's crazy how the misguided things that make you feel like a man will render you not feeling like a man in that moment.
Yeah, you hit that one on the head because that is exactly where I started. So I actually, my drug dealing, and we'll go back to this story, but my drug dealing began with, I'm going to sell dope so I could get my mom a house.
And it's the real deal, right, Jesse? You believe that.
Yeah, oh yeah. Without a doubt in your mind, I'm going to make it. I'm going to have cars. I'm going to have clothes.
Yeah.
My family's going to be good.
And sometimes we take shortcuts.
Oh yeah.
And
long cuts.
Yeah, long cuts.
Yeah, because they end up being U-turns.
Yes,
almost.
yeah. So, real quick, I want to return back to the darkest moment because I want to know how you got out of that dark moment.
Oh man, it was.
All right. So tell me about the dark moment, and then we can go into what happened, like the turnaround.
There was a moment for you, Jesse.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I'm like chomping at the bit. I want to know the moment now.
Yeah. No, there was man, accountability moment. You embraced it.
It was a big one, and God just tugged at my heart. So prior to all this, my aunt and my uncle reaching out to me like, hey, mijo, you got to stop selling drugs. You got to stop living this way. You got daughters. You got a wife. She wasn't my wife at the time.
Yeah.
We ended up actually getting married before I took off to Illinois.
Okay.
Because I was still good before the cop called me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we got married. We took off to Illinois, and I'm desperate for money. So what I did was I called one of my friends, and I used to steal vehicles. And be able to trade that vehicle, give me some money. And get this, okay? So the reason for me stealing the vehicle wasn't to get money to flip.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, I need something for me and my brothers to do while we're on lockdown and hiding out. So it was to get an Xbox. But
wow.
I mean, part of that was like, all right, I'm going to do some criminal activity, I'm going to get a rush, and I'll probably get some more money. Using the vehicle. And I break into the vehicle, I start it up. Well, in the newer vehicles, they shut off when you put them in a gear because of the security system. Mm-hmm. So I drove like 2 inches, and I'm like, all right, this ain't working. And then I tried it again, didn't work. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go back to the house. Like it was a job, like it was normal every day, because this was
hey
my
boss,
everyday.
I'm having problems with that machine. You have some of the mechanics look at it.
Yeah. You might want to
go on YouTube and kind of figure out how to, and then double go back.
How to get maintenance over there. Yeah. So I went back to the house. I tell my lady, and my sister, and they're like, oh dang, and I was like, well, I seen this other one down the street, so I'm gonna go get that one here in a few minutes. Dang. So I warmed up. It's January, right? It's freezing cold. January is 20 degrees. I got on this big coat. I'm in a gang infested area. Okay. So we had problems with gang members. Well, I'm walking down the street and I see some tagging on the building, and it didn't pay me. I didn't pay no attention. I'm like, damn, somebody got the neighborhood. I'm just gonna keep doing my thing because I don't want no trouble. So I go down the street and here comes a cop, roll up on me, and I drop the screwdriver and everything I had, and he tells me, I know you did that tagging over there, and I'm like,
no, seriously, I didn't do that thing.
No, I didn't do that. But, and then he's asking me all these questions, and he's like, who are you? And I didn't have ID on me, obviously.
Right.
I tell him, I give him one of my cousin's names, and I'm like, yeah, that's my name. He's like, where you staying at? I gave him the address. So he's like, all right, I'm going to take you to this address, but if they say that they don't know you, you're going down. You're going with me. So they take me to the house, and I see my brothers at the door, and my brothers are looking, and I see one of my brothers shake his head. And I'm like, no. So then he walks back to the car and he's like, yep, you're coming with us.
They said they denied you.
Yeah.
Man, that must have been a hard moment too, Jesse. I mean,
it was okay, but I
it's because you knew why that happened.
Yeah.
You knew why they
so
said
his
no.
lifestyle, you almost understood.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to happen. I was either going to die or I was going to go to jail, and I was ready to go to jail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, well, this is happening. So I get there. We're on 103rd over by Doty Road, and on the east side. I put my hand on this thing. As soon as I put my hand on this thing, it starts flashing red. He's like, oh, we got you, huh?
What's that mean? Hand
it's
on
a,
the
it's
thing?
a fingerprint.
It's fugitive warrant.
Oh my
man.
gosh!
Inside a fugitive warrant. Yeah, U.S. Marshals were looking for me.
Oh yeah, I forgot. About,
Yeah, I was on the run, man.
Still on the run. Cops got the gun.
Yeah. So I had went into Cook County Jail, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy, because I had been in boys' homes, I had been in juvenile detention centers, but you go to Cook County Jail, and it is another animal.
Wow.
Yeah. So like you got
Brad was there too.
Yeah. It's a rough place, man. So you get in there and you kind of got to make peace with somebody. So I make peace with the Latinos. First thing I do, I make peace with them, and I tell them, I'm not about nothing. If anything happens, I got you. So I was never a man of faith. So, I had said, I don't want nothing to do with that. My aunt's like, Mijo, you got to go to church, get God in your life. My uncle's the same way. And I'm like, man, don't talk to me about none of that stuff. Like I'm out here trying to make it on my own.
Yeah.
I have no faith at all.
Right.
And, and it wasn't one of those things where you go to jail and you're like, God, please help me. I need your help right now. So I'm in there and I'm doing my thing. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do whatever I got to do. And of course you get bored, so you read. So I read this book called Left Behind. Left Behind. I read that book.
That's a movie. I know it as a movie.
You gotta watch. You gotta read the book.
That's so cool, Jesse.
Yeah.
So I read that book, and I'm just sitting there, and I was like, man.
And nobody has talked to you.
Nobody said a word
about
the gospel.
Well, not only the gospel, but revelation, like the end. Nobody's giving you, hey, we got the answer to something that's going to happen if you don't, you know what I'm saying? You've never had this conversation with nobody.
You never really
the book is the first revelation for you.
Incredible.
You might have heard about Jesus. You might have heard about God. But you didn't hear what the left behind.
That was the scariest thing for me.
Gave me the goosebumps, man. That's crazy. Because that's the first time you hear it.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? And we live in a first world country.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't in no third world country.
I know. Man.
We live in a country that was founded on the principles. And this young man, at what age were you at this time?
20.
You're 20 years old.
19.
Never heard that.
Yeah. I you know what? And I may have, but I just never paid
I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a word picture.
Your antenna was up now, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Receiving that signal.
I'm like, what am I going to do? Like I'm here and my wife and my two daughters. I only had two daughters at the time. My wife and my two daughters are out there by themselves. Like, and I could talk to them sometimes. But what would I do if it were just the way it was in the book? And I said, you know what? What's the worst thing that I could do if I just said yes to Jesus right now? All in my cell by myself. Nobody questioned me. Nobody talked to me. And it was just like, all right, you know what, God? Like, I want to see what you could do in my life.
Yeah. Let me be your project.
What?
Yeah. I was like, Lord, just use me.
So look at his hands. Like, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, do it again, Jesse.
It was just,
like,
it was surrender, bro.
You can surrender to police or you can surrender to Jesus. I know which one is the right one, and so does Jesse. He's living proof, man. I love it.
And this is, okay, so things got crazy after this.
They usually do.
Wait a second.
Right? Because the enemy's like, no, I'm keeping my hands in you.
Yeah, we have a soldier that went AWOL. Right. We need to come get him back.
Yeah, he's special ops, right? We need him back.
Yeah, he was a big hitter. So, the same aunt and uncle that are telling me, you know, you need to get into church and you need to see God, they ended up coming to bond me out. Well, they put up a lot of money to bond me out.
Yeah.
And I talked to my dad, which I didn't talk to at the time. You know, I call him after so many years because he knew I was living crazy. I was selling drugs and doing all kinds of stuff. You know, my dad, he's a high-ranking government official, so yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, right.
What?
Right? What? Yeah, he's up there, bro. So he works for the I call the Alphabet Boys.
The Alphabet Boys.
You know, CIA.
What?
DEA.
Your dad?
No, he's not CIA though, or DEA. No.
Yeah, but he works there.
He works there. So I'm calling him, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know, man." I'm like, "I just need $500. That's all I'm asking. Just take this risk." I said,
"Now, is this the man that you took to live with you for a while, or is this your biological dad?"
This is my biological father.
Okay, this is your biological father.
Yeah. And how did you even come in contact with him?
You know what? I had somehow remembered his number.
That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah. So
you know what? My brother told me. My brother went to jail, and he told me, he was like, I don't know what it is about jail. He goes, but I remembered every number on my cell phone. He goes, I would just be sitting there and I just look at numbers, be like, and I'd hit the numbers. And I knew, I mean, so I get it. Yeah, it's crazy.
Nuts.
It's crazy what the mind can go back and do.
Insane.
All right, so you hit him up.
I needed the help, man. I'm like, I only need $500 to bet on me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna change my life. You won't regret it. I promise you. And he's still real skeptical, as he should have been.
Yeah.
As he should have been.
Wow, what a great thing to say.
No, and I was in no way, shape, or form offended because the way I was living, you know, I wouldn't have trusted me either.
If you didn't get offended when they said no and put you back in the squad car, I get it. It makes sense to me.
You're right.
Your story is making sense to me. Like, this makes perfect sense right now. I get it. And again, the self-awareness thing comes because he's like, yo, I'm going to ask, but I don't blame him. He's self-aware. He knows where he's at. But go ahead, man.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. So he agrees to do it. So they come and bond me out. It is February 9th or 11th, one of the two. They bond me out. I get out. All right, so mind you, before I went into jail, I had a cocaine habit. I smoked cigarettes. I smoked weed all the time. I was selling drugs. You know, I was just in the streets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I get out. Nothing. I'm like, all right, I need to start working out. I need to start eating.
Mm-hmm.
I need to start going back to school. You know, because prior to that, I had, and that's how I got a lot of money to buy my drugs. Is I was going to school and getting the grants.
Okay.
Or the grants, and I was
not
taking
showing
loans.
up to class.
Yeah, not showing up to class. So I had made money that way as well. So I got out and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get myself right, and I'm gonna make everybody that doubted me, you know, proud.
Yeah.
Proud. Not I'm gonna rub it in their face.
No, absolutely
these people who doubted me, I'm gonna make them proud.
Yeah.
Man, dude.
The perspective on that is crazy, right?
Yeah.
It was a little bit of both at the time. You know, I'm a cocky, arrogant young man.
I get it, though.
No, but there was always something special about you, Jesse. Make no mistake.
Yeah, Jesse, we like to call this clouds and dirt, right? Like, I'm the baddest dude in the gym, or I'm the baddest dude in the boxing ring, and then the dirt side of it, right? That's the clouds, and then the dirt side of it is, you know, there's always somebody badder.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah,
so I get what you're. We get the analogy, the word picture. 100%, man. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, bro. Yeah. No, bro. I appreciate it. Yeah. I really like how you guys are digging into this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know. Okay, so here we go. So I tell myself, and this is me. This is me. Just me and me. Me and God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, God. I need you to show me this. Show me this. Show me how to become a better husband, a better father, a better brother, a better nephew, a better man all the way around. And
God says you ask for wisdom, and I'm quick to give it to you.
Yeah, and that's, man, he didn't hold back, bro. So I get a job, you know, and I messed up, and I end up going to a party, and I end up failing for a drug test. So I lost that job. And I just kind of kept boxing, and I was doing my thing. And then we had got into it with my aunt and uncle, and so we had to find somewhere else to live. So then I called my biological dad, and I told him, hey, I need somewhere to stay with my wife and my daughter. And we went to stay there. I got a job with the state through a work, I think it's Work One, through a Work One project. So I'm working through the state. It's a temporary job, minimum wage, but I still got the experience. I get to work with all these people, and these people were telling me, like, one of my biggest things was, when I get a job, I'm going to be the hardest worker.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Nobody's going to outwork me. And
Right.
that is what happened, because I mean, God was just like, all right, you want to keep doing it, then we'll show you. I was working out. I was going to school. So I'm doing all of this stuff while I'm out on bail.
Okay.
So I get this job. I start going back to school. I got a 4.0 in business. Got a 4.0, took my family off of welfare. I got a job in a pipe mill. Well, it wasn't a pipe mill. It was a pipe coating mill. So we coated pipe there. Got a job there. Got my family off of welfare. Got us an apartment. And in the process of all of this, before we moved out of my dad's house, we found out that my wife was pregnant, because we're like...
With number 3.
We're number 3. And it was totally unintentional. Like, she was getting a shot, and, we were doing contraceptive stuff, and... we're just like, all right, something's going on, because I'm always tired. You're trying to lose weight and you're not successful, and we're doing a lot. So what's going on?
Yeah.
And we take the test. We went to go visit my mom, and my mom was living crazy at the time, but I still love her. So I went to go see my mom. I went to see my mom, and she's like, I think Lizzie might be pregnant. I said, don't say that. Don't say that. I'm out on bail. I'm about to go to prison. Don't say that. I can't have a baby coming into the world, So we ended up getting a pregnancy test. She was pregnant, 5 months pregnant. So we kind of laid the news on my dad, and his wife was not happy with it. She's like, yo, all right. And it's cool. We made amends since then. So we got our own place. And so this is the second bomb, kind of a dark place. So we end up having to leave my dad's place. So we leave my dad's, and I had just picked up a cell phone. I got a car, and I'm like, I can make some quick money.
Yeah.
I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Man,
So
those whispers, man.
Yeah.
Those whispers in
That
your
was
ear.
it, bro. That was it. So I went and I started doing my thing again. And there was one phone call I got that felt very skeptical. And I was like, I didn't pick up the phone after that. I'm like, I'm done. I threw everything I had away. I said, I lost out, but I'm not going to prison.
Right.
I'm already facing charges.
Yeah.
So if I get caught, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done for real. So
Self-awareness.
yeah,
again.
it was just crazy, man. Just being in that moment and just saying, it's just crazy. So we end up staying at somewhere, and while we're staying there, they got bed bugs. It was insane. Like I'd wake up in the middle of the night and be itching everywhere. It's insane. So I was like, you know what? I told my wife, I said, we're not spending a dime on eating out. We're not spending a dime on anything we don't need. We're getting ourselves our very own place.
Right.
Nice.
And that was our we've had places before, but this is our place to raise a family.
Gotcha.
And that's what we did, and then, I'm doing my thing and I'm working hard. And mind you, I didn't know what a true man was, because I grew up and I seen, my uncle who helped me out, I see him and the way he's living, like he drink all the time.
You just didn't have any clear-cut example.
Yeah. Like my dad was a
Right.
solid dude. My biological dad, he was a solid dude.
But he wasn't in your life until 20 at this point, right? So, I mean, it's really hard. When you do something for 20 years, it's not going to change overnight. You feel me? So I get it.
Yeah. It's so hard it's so hard because I wanted to look up to people, and I looked up to guys that prided themselves, or, were proud of their work, or proud of, other accomplishments, or are proud of just going out and being able to get with other women.
Yeah.
And I never really,
that's such fake man pride right there.
I had this good job. I'm making money. I'm taking care of my family. I'm like, I'm just going to go out every weekend. So that's what I did. I went out every weekend. I turned 21. I'm hitting the bars all the time. I didn't really know, how to live life.
Yeah.
Man, God's been in my life. Like, so I'm going somewhere else with the same story. So we end up I ended up getting sent to DOC. So I got sentenced to 6 years suspended. I got 3 in work release, and then I got 3 probation.
Wow.
So I go into work release, And work release, like, it was a blessing. So I'm telling this judge, and I'm talking to this judge. I'm looking at him. I was going to take a drink. I'm going now, though.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the judge, and I had letters from so many people because people who had known me had said, there's no way you did that. Yeah, that was me.
They seen the change already.
Yeah, they were like, there's no way that you did that. Like, my boxing coach, one of my friends, my good friends. You know, and it was just crazy because I had these letters, and I'm sitting here and I'm talking to the judge. I'm looking right at him. I'll never forget his name is Salvador Vasquez. And I'm looking at him, and I'm telling him, I said, you know, I know what I did was wrong, and I lived that life, you know, and I'm willing and ready to accept the consequences. I says, but before you make that decision, I just want to show you that I have really taken advantage of the opportunity you guys have given me by letting me bail out and stay out for so long.
Yeah.
You know, and I tell them the accomplishments. Like, I got my family off of welfare. I go back to school. I got a 4.0. I got a full-time job. We got our own place. And, you know, we're having a baby, you know, unexpectedly, which was Esmeralda. We already had Esmeralda. We had Esmeralda, then I was going to get sentenced. So we had Esmeralda 12, 11, 10. I got sentenced in 2011 in January. Okay. Wow. So we, you know, my brand new baby, you know, I'm going away. And I'm like, man, that was one of the hardest things in my life. So I get in there and I start doing, you know, I'm trying to find a way out.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's got to be a way to numb this so that way I can't feel this. You know, so I tell them, first thing I tell some of the counselors is there, like, I got anxiety.
Yeah.
I got panic attacks.
Yeah.
You know, so what do they give you? Here, take these. Take these.
They give you scripts for pills and.
Well, once I had the script, it was over because I could access whatever I wanted. You know, as long as it was in that drug category.
Yeah.
Man.
So then that was the enemy. Like, hey, come on, I got you. You know, you're mine. So I'm eating Xanax. I'm eating 18 milligrams of Xanax. You know, probably for the last 6 months that I'm in there.
Wow.
So then I got a lawyer, got out on house arrest, and that was even worse. I'm still eating Xanax, and I'm zombied out, going to work zombied out, you know, and I worked in a pipe coating mill, so at the time, like, there is no room for air in a pipe. You know, you got 13,000-pound joints rolling. Yeah. Bad. And my wife and my dad, you know, she's bringing me home from Lake County Courthouse, you know, because you'd have to go in every week to do a program, and then you go back home and you're on house arrest, and they come and check on you and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, my wife is telling me on the way home, she says, you know what, you're going to kill yourself. And she's right, because, you know, I've known a couple guys that have died from Xanax overdose.
Yeah.
So she's like, you're going to kill yourself, and you're going to leave me without a husband, and your daughter's without a father.
Man.
So I'm putting you in the hospital. And I was mad. Like, this is, don't do that to me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not, that's not who I am. That's not my problem.
Right.
So, you know, and I threw the phone. I was ready to jump out of the car. We're on I-65. You know, just the things that go through your mind, man, when addiction has a hold on you, it's just relentless.
It's relentless. I love that you said that.
Yeah,
it's relentless.
It's just insane. But, you know, I feel like God was on my hand too, man. He was, you know, that was his relentless pursuit too. It was like, I'm going to give you a story.
Yeah.
You turn graves into gardens, baby. That's what God does.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we played that song. I love it.
So, all right. So, you know, I go in the hospital. I'm in the hospital bed, and I'm calling my guy like, hey, bring me 8 Xanax bars. And he comes, and a cop stops him like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I just came to bring him some money. He's like, nah, you don't need no money in here. He's in rehab, right? So I go in there, you know.
You're in rehab, and you're calling your friend to bring you some drugs.
I'm in detox. Yeah, it was detox. Sorry.
Yeah,
and,
detox. Okay.
Oh, man.
It was insane, bro, the things that were on my mind. And I'm like, you know, I'm just going to get high. You know, I'll fall asleep. Nobody will know. I'll be good.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I stayed there for 2 or 3 days. They were still feeding me a little bit of Xanax and Klonopin, you know, to help with withdrawals. And I talked to my, I don't know, I guess you would say my clinician or parole officer, whatever she was at the time. And she told me, all right, well, this is how this is going to play out. You're either going to go into a facility, you're going to give your medicine to a facility and you'll go there every day to take it, or you'll come back in here and we'll feed you your medicine every day. And I was like, I took the scripts and I just ripped them up. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Like, this is not who I am.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not who I am. Like, addiction's not going to hold on me. And I ripped them scripts up, bro. And everybody said I was crazy. Jesse, you might die. You might die. You shouldn't do that. You know, my doctor's telling me to.
Yeah.
Jesse, you might die. You're going to die. And I'll tell you what, it was a terrible experience. Okay. It was a terrible experience. And there was nothing easy about it. You know, like I couldn't sleep.
Right.
You know, you're eating a lot of Xanax a day. You're not going to be able to sleep off of
Yeah.
them. So I couldn't sleep. Always irritable. It was just a hard time, man. But I feel like God, you know, gave me that story. You know, and
Yeah.
I don't know who needs to hear it, you know,
Yeah.
but that was just it, man. I was like, I'm done. You know, I got my life together. You know, then I got back to drinking on the weekends, and then I was like, all right. I went to a mill out in Couts, a wire mill. I had seen the advertisement and the Facebook post about them looking for guys, and I had said, well, it's in Couts, and when you're in jail, you don't hear good things about Couts, especially when it comes to have darker skin, you know, or Latinos,
sure.
you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I ain't going to Couts. When one of my friends was with me, he was like, let's just go, you know, I'll take my gun, we'll be all right, you know, we won't be out. Well, it wasn't on nothing crazy, though. It was just
yeah.
like,
I get it. Yeah.
just in case we got to be safe.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
I know. I get it. We
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
And we get there, and there was like 140 applicants that filled out applications, and there was me and another guy, and we're actually friends to this day. God ended up connecting us back in the summer.
Yeah.
So anyways, so there was me and another guy. Out of 140 applicants, 2 guys asked to speak to the HR guy. He says, there's only 2 of you that asked to speak to me. He says, you're going to be hired. Let me know when you want to start.
Wow.
Right? And they had originally planned to bring me on as filter press or water purification, which makes like $12 or $13 an hour, which I was still happy with.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. Well, they brought me in, and they're like, you know what? We feel like you're reliable, so we're going to make you an operator. Operators make, you know, $20 to $45 an hour. So, yeah, so I was
Jesse.
like, that's favor, man.
Yeah.
Okay, mind you, okay, let's put everything in a context here. Okay, I am the only Latino or anybody with any type of skin, and I'm not, don't get me wrong,
get it,
there's
yeah.
nothing, you know what I'm saying, but I just want, I don't want to
Yeah, it was just, you were aware of it.
yeah, I
you know?
was definitely different.
Yeah.
Okay, there. So, just like, and the way I moved up, because I was relentless about my work as well. Like, I'm going to be good at what I do, you know, and if I suck at it, I'm going to go talk to somebody who knows how to do it so I can fix it. And that's what I did. I was relentless. I worked hard. Everybody recognized that. And I moved up. You know, I moved up to, you know, I was working. Before I got laid off in the mill, I was making $100,000 a year. So I was making $47 an hour almost.
Man.
Just easy work, you know?
Yeah.
But you were great at it.
Yeah, God had his hand on me, man. And like I said, like I'm not a halfway there guy. Like,
No,
I'm gonna go
Jesse,
all the way.
you're all in.
Yeah,
Jesse, we
all
got to get to the part of the story where you give that job up.
Oh yeah, so man,
Because you just told people that at some point you made $100,000 doing this work,
Yeah.
and
Plus.
you're a transformation. Like I saw your competition pictures, which I don't think people can live like that. Like you were the level at which you were striated. Which he's like, oh, Jay works out a little bit. He knows striations. Yeah. Dude, it was so impressive. And you've made all these changes for your family, and you're seeing them to fruition, which is which is why you can tell your story and be like, this is where I was at. This is at. It's a completely different perspective, right? Because the problem with people, Jesse, is a lot of people have about 3/4 of your story, but they don't have this whole enchilada, which you
turn around.
Exactly. They don't stick it out to the peak.
Yeah.
But we talk here that sometimes when you get to the peak, you find out God shows you, you thought that was the peak. Now I'm going to show you the vastness of what I'm going to give you.
Yes.
And you're changing people's lives in your backyard, Jesse.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can't even say it without having goosebumps.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we think there's something about men who grab iron.
Yeah.
And there's not enough of them in the church. There's not enough of them on this freaking planet. You are not one bit apologetic about being a man. You lift up your wife. You're changing. Young men are flocking to the shred shed, the ape factory. I can't stop talking about it.
Shred shed. I like
I love the ape factory. We talked about it before you came here.
Yeah.
So you made that transition. We got to get to that part of the story, Jesse, where you believe so much in yourself. Your quotes are so inspirational. A picture of you sitting in front. You're running your business. You're the CEO of what's going down.
Yeah.
How
At
does
the
it
eight
happen?
sector.
How
How
did
does
you
that-
believe
yeah.
in yourself that much?
Yeah.
Well, I think a part of the story that you may have missed, Jay, and we may have become friends after this is, they laid me off in the mill, and I had become so adamant in building my business. I'm like, I don't want my family to be controlled by somebody else's decisions.
Gosh.
Sounds like
I
my
want
story.
I want to be independent, and there was a point where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this. Everything was going good, and one of my children passed away on Mother's Day, so it was the night before Mother's Day. I want to believe that a lot of it was my belief in myself, but I know God that he had
That was motivation, though.
he had it was a big thing, and the biggest motivation was my HR guy calling me and telling me, and this is I'm not even sure what day it was after he called me back, because I'm trying to live right now. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what day it is. Like, we had just had the funeral. I don't even think we had the funeral, actually. And he calls me, and he's like, hey, Jesse, guys are coming back. And, we were wondering if you're ready to come back. And I was like, I said, I do want to come back to work. I said, but I'm not sure if you heard that, my son passed away. And he's like, yeah, I kind of heard that. And he's like, anyways.
Oh,
and
Lord.
at that point, I was like, I'm not coming back, and I just hung up the phone. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm furious. I'm like, how can a company I devoted 7 years of my life to, worked overtime, provided quality product to our customers?
gotcha.
How can they treat me this way when one of my kids, I'm in despair right now. How can you be this way? And I told myself, I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm gonna make it happen. And now, so there was a lot behind that too, because I had so much influence on Omari's life. That's where God put me in. That's where God instilled in me, all right, you're gonna have that impact on other men, on other young men too.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I had seen, like, raising Omari was not easy, because Omari was from a troubled background. There was a lot of trauma to work through.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things that I didn't understand, because my kids, they were real disciplined. I'd tell them, hey, go do that. They'll do it.
But I think in a way, though, you could have, it probably related to your life, too.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah.
He did.
You know what I'm saying?
crazy.
Like, there was something,
Yeah.
there was something there.
Because he was troubled, and I seen so much of myself in him, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna love this boy. I'm gonna do my best to be his dad. And
You're gonna be the male figure you always deserved, Jesse.
And that's what I thought too. I wasn't always the best at it, but I always thought, all right, I'm making a difference in this boy's life.
Yeah.
There were even a few times, I just remember driving. He was so hurt by his dad, and he's like, man, Theo. He said, sometimes I'm glad that my dad didn't want me, because I'm able to be with you guys.
Wow.
Yeah,
that feels good. I get it.
So just hearing those words from him, and I feel like God prepared me by living my life to be able to relate to him, and then at the same time to be where I'm at today. So, I had told myself, all right, I'm going to make a difference in men's life, and this is before I actually started doing it. Okay. So when I first got out the gate, of being an entrepreneur, a starting entrepreneur, I had said, all right, I'm just going to make money. I'm going to coach. I'm going to train. I'm going to have trainers underneath me. Yeah. And, it's just going to be this massive thing. And, it kind of came to a halt, because not only am I dealing with PTSD from the event, of that night, I'm dealing with other insecurities in my life. Okay. Separation anxiety, abandonment issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much stuff is just coming to the surface. And I'm like, okay, I don't even want to live no more. Like, a few months ago, like, I didn't want to live, like, I'm like, God, just take me. Like, I just want to go, I don't want to feel this pain. I can't be fixed. And I'm laying in bed, and I'm telling my wife this. I'm sobbing. I'm just sobbing. This is in October sometime. And I'm just sobbing, and I'm crying, and I'm telling her, I said, man, I can't be fixed. I can't be the man you need me to be. I can't be secure sometimes, like, you don't deserve this. I'm like, I just want to die. And I believe these things.
Yeah.
Well, she had said something to me, and she was like, you need to stop. And I'm laying in bed, and tears are streaming down my face. I'm ugly crying. She's like, you're believing a lie.
Glory! You're believing a lie.
Woo! And when she said those words, I get the chills right now, man. When she said those words, it's just like, But you know me, I'm a man, so
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, that ain't no lie. Like I know what's going
Yeah.
on. You know, you try to.
Yeah.
But then we end up. So we were out of church for a long time, man. And we end up finally saying, all right, it's time to go back to church. We need to get back right with God because, you know, I feel like God's going to use me in a mighty way. And he's
Yeah.
going to use this story like this. The
Yes,
story
he
is
is.
not, it's not just to end like this is where.
It's not in vain.
Yeah, it's not in vain, you know?
Love that.
And that was my biggest thing was like, all right, I'm going to get back to plugged in. I'm going to get back to being the man I can be.
Right.
I'm going to get back to living a purpose-filled life. And before I had got there, okay, so when I'm focused on the money, I'm not getting any money. No money's coming. You know, I'm struggling. I'm struggling, you know.
That's great.
I'm struggling, man. And then I turn away. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start doing free men's groups. I'm just going to start getting guys together. I'm going to do these men's lives.
Yeah.
And then guys are just like, I had this past week, I've had a few new young men come to my facility. Even some of their parents are like, you know, we're not doing any sport specific, even though he isn't a sport, but we want him to train with you because we see what some of these young men are leaving or just going into the world being, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, man. Jay, you left this
Jesse,
part out.
you are the second person in a month who's awesome, who has told us when they stopped worrying about the money would just come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they're fixated on just being great at what they're called to do. Like the example was used. He said, you know, Bill Gates and these guys, they didn't say, hey, you want to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
They said, we're going to make these products
Yeah.
and they're going to be revolutionary. And your style harkens back to a little bit more of unapologetically. I'm not saying you won't train women. I've seen you train your wife, who you often, fellas, he lifts her up. You don't waste an opportunity because you appreciate her. But you're unapologetically a dude. And I can't get enough of that on me. I can't get enough of it on my sons.
Yeah.
And I tell them, you guys, there's a lot of confusion in the world. And I know what makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. And I know it's for a reason.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I love watching you mentor those young men. And your story is not just for you, Jesse. You hit the nail on the head, my man.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus has got to be a part of it too, going forward because he's gonna magnify you, and amplify you. He's already doing it.
It seems like also the self-esteem that you gained from having this journey, you know, in the gym and working out and, you know, building your body. And you also see that in the young men that you're building.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that's probably why the parents bring the kids, right? That's what you meant when you said they like what they see when the kid leaves, right?
Well, yeah. Well,
I mean, I'm guessing. I'm trying
Man's
to
form. That's what we call
Okay,
it.
the man's formation.
Yeah. It is in a sense because I meet with these young men and they're unsure of themselves. They're unsure, you know, of who they are. You know what I'm saying, and whose they are. You know, so
And whose they are.
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard him. Dude, you got to put that in a coffee cup.
Yeah.
and so they're really unsure of themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and just instilling them and telling them, hey, bro, like I've lived a rough life.
Yeah.
I've been at the bottom. You know, you could get up, you can make it,
Yeah.
and you could do something great. Like you have a great opportunity. You have me here, and just to let these kids know, like you have my support.
There's
Like,
someone there.
you know, and if you know, there's things that you just gotta do. You know, like to be who you are. You know, just
I get it.
don't hold back.
You know what? Like Fernando's an entrepreneur. You could say this has entrepreneurism written all over it.
Yeah.
But you didn't want anyone in charge of you. You don't want somebody in a gym telling you how you can do it.
Yeah.
So you started on your deck. And then we're watching this thing change, a pad.
Yeah.
He's not pulling any punches. He's like, guys, I didn't even know how to assemble this metal building. Now it's got heat. We all get to watch it.
Yeah. And that was God's hand all over it, man.
That's part of that's part of the story. That's the
It is.
That's the origin story we're talking about. So like we talked about the story of you growing up, and now we get to see the origin story of the Ape Factory.
Yeah.
You know,
And this,
That
was it. That was it, man. So I had me and Omari actually the weekend before he passed. Me and him tore down that shed, And we had the biggest bonfire we ever had in our backyard.
Yeah.
The neighbors called the cops on it. It was crazy. Me and Omar were so mad because we were out there getting it, tearing the roof down, tearing shingles off, putting the wood in the fire.
Yeah.
We had a good time. And, I told Omar, I was like, man, this is going to be awesome. Wait till it's all done, And I had already planned to pour concrete from the front of my house to the back, huge pad. And then, I had a lot of skeptics and a lot of people ask me, well, what are you going to do in the winter? I'm like, well, I'm gonna get something up, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my 401k money that I saved ended up going into that.
Everything. Concrete pads aren't cheap.
Concrete pad, my dude did my concrete, and then so that friend that ended up getting hired with me back at Merritt Steel, we had fell off and he had gotten into some trouble, and I was like, dang, he's done. I thought he was going away. Well, I had walked into a church one day and I seen him in the church, and I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it's good to see you. He was like, it was small talk because we had, been away from each other. We haven't really been connected. But he's like, I'm like, hey, give me your number, man. Let's get connected. Let's talk. I want to see what's up with you. And I'm talking to him. And before he went to jail, he wasn't a man of God. And then God did something to him in there that he was like, yo, I just want to work. I just want to give glory to God. Yeah. So we end up meeting the first time, and he meets with me. He's like, dude, you don't even know I've been praying that somebody comes into my life to help me with my nutrition and my training and to help me. And he's like, he sent you.
So he becomes your first guy? Or?
Yeah. Basically one of my first guys. So he comes
in.
And this guy he was already doing a lot of awesome stuff before he even met me. So I'm not even going to take any credit for that. But this guy helped me. He helped me put my shed up. He helped me insulate it. He helped me run the electric to it. And I'm forever grateful. He's helping me do some of the media I'm doing for my website.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, God could just take these two distorted people and just, he doesn't even, I'm like, dude, when I start getting good financially, you don't even know, I got you. He's like, well, I said, you are a part of something so big you don't even understand.
Yeah.
Man,
so that was,
dude, that is an amazing word.
Yeah, I mean,
we put limits on God, don't we, Jesse?
Yeah, we do big time, man. We do big time. I had always, doubt in myself. Part of the reason, I'm laying in bed at sobbing is because I'm doubting myself. I'm not good in front of camera. I mean, look at me here today. I'm not good on camera.
You're killing it.
I'm not good talking to people. I'm just lies. You're not. Who's
he talking about?
Yeah, you talking about somebody else?
You talking about somebody? I haven't met that guy yet. Yeah,
they're lies.
So, exactly. And I'm telling
that's awesome.
I should go back to working in the mill. And then one of my turning points is actually in December, towards the beginning of December. I picked up this book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. He was an ex-Navy SEAL.
Yeah,
and prior to reading that book, I had put a lot of pressure on my wife, telling her, you got to help me with this business. You got to help me. But then I read that book and I'm like, she doesn't have to do nothing but just be the wife and the mom that she is. What am I? I'm the one that did this. I've always been the provider. What am I doing dragging her into this?
Yeah.
And once that happened, I was like, wow, I could implement this in everything in my house and in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because ultimately we are 100% responsible for the choices we make and how we take ownership for those choices.
That's right.
Yeah, we say ownership is own your ship.
Yeah.
You're the captain, bro.
Yes, sir.
You're driving this bus, you're steering this boat.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and from all the stories that you shared with us today, man, I feel like there was many times that you did take ownership from a young age, and you were held accountable for those things, and you didn't back away. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Just because you didn't do it in the way some people traditionally think that it should go, doesn't mean you weren't doing it, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's crazy. And he named it the Ape Factory, and and I think to myself, that gorilla was just climbing his way out of that mess.
Yeah.
And the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, and part of the reason it's called the Ape Factory, I don't know if you guys missed this post or you guys seen it or not. So the Ape Factory, and I thought it was so cliche. I'm like, everybody uses gorillas though.
Yeah, they do. You're so
silverback,
right.
especially in fitness. But I'm like, this is gonna have a deeper meaning.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the Wikipedia thing, and I'm like looking into gorillas and their character and who they are.
Right.
and I look, and the silverback gorilla, okay, the silverback gorilla will take care of his troop, feed his troop, lead his troop to food, and even take other troops in.
Okay.
Wow.
Take care of that woman, their kids. And, you know, I've been in a similar situation where we've had people living with us.
And you brought the kid with you. What was his name again?
Omari.
Yeah.
Omari was with me.
Right.
And in apes, silverback gorillas, they'll also send their young out to socialize and to get them acclimated to the society. Like, you got to show them what
cool,
how to handle business out there. So that's
crazy.
That's
crazy.
And that's one of the parts that resonated, because as I'm training these young men, I'm like, all right, well, let's throw some wisdom on this. What would somebody wise do?
So you use like things that are going on.
Yeah.
So do you look for certain attributes while that kid is in the gym with you? Like, is there certain traits, or you work with anybody?
No, absolutely not. I pick and choose a lot of the people that I work with. So one of the biggest things that I look for in a kid is heart.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, if that kid can work, I don't care, if he looks sloppy, because I give everybody a one session. You get one session free. I want to fill you out, and I want you to fill me out. Like, I don't want you to sign up and pay me and then not even like me. Right. So I look for the kid, is the kid willing to work? Is the kid teachable? Okay, because I don't want a kid telling me, oh, yeah, I seen on this and that, And sometimes I got to be teachable, too. And make no mistake, I'm ready for that, But I'm science-based,
I know you are.
I got education in this, so I'm not just going to let anybody. So anyways, sorry, I didn't mean to go on. But, I look for optimism. I look for the kid being teachable. I look for heart. I look for fortitude. A lot of the kids that I work with,
ding, ding, ding.
They
Dude,
have been
awesome.
through some things, and you're just talking. Like, one of the kids I met with today, he had scoliosis surgery, and he's sitting there and he's telling me, he says, I'm just hungry to learn and I want to grow. He says, I know I'm not the biggest, but I'm going to be the hardest worker. And I was like,
well, you couldn't have said
man,
anything
dude.
better, man.
I'm like, hey, I'm going to send you the invoice to get them signed up. I'm talking to his dad.
And when they back it up, it's even better, right?
Oh, when they're working and it's showing in their life. And the way, and one of my biggest things, though, is when I'm working with a young man, if that young man is not employed, if that young man is not doing anything outside of the gym with me, then, dude, you're missing the point.
Yeah.
Like, this is bigger than fitness for me. Like, this is an aspect of growth.
Yeah.
But you're missing the point if you're just going to grow in the gym.
Oh, my gosh.
I know we heard a lot of, like, the origin story today, and I just want to ask this because you kind of got into what you're into now. And how has your life been different than what you imagined to date? So this could change tomorrow, is what I'm giving you that. Yeah, but to date, like how did like, did you have a dream to be something when you were younger, and then it kind of, you're like, oh well, that didn't work out, and now I'm doing this, and that's okay. I'm just wondering, like.
Yeah, I wanted to be the biggest, hardest gangbanger in my area.
Like, that was
the goal.
Really, it was I believe it, Jesse.
Yeah.
Like, you
When
were
I hear your
inundated
story,
in that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you saw, like, the projection from the successful people is a beautiful life.
Yeah.
Right, on the surface.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you see what you want. Yeah.
And then I did want to ask one more thing I wanted to ask it earlier, but, like, what was the scariest moment of your life to date? It doesn't have to be, like, number one. You can give me, like, top 5, top 10, but do you have one? Was it starting business? Was it something that happened in the gangbanging days? Was it something like...
the scariest moment of my life to this day...
It doesn't have to be top... It could be top 10. You know what,
man? I've had guns in my face. There's
a lot competing for this spot.
Yeah.
But the scariest moment of my life was being in the room, performing CPR on my kid and just saying that, he's not going to make it. Or,
gotcha.
Is he going to make it?
Right.
Is he gonna make it?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I know that was hard, man, but I appreciate you answering that for me, man, and kind of giving me a insight into, right now that gave me a huge insight into how much that I know that boy meant a lot to you, and it just kind of really solidified what I was thinking. So I appreciate that, man.
Jesse, we want to make sure that you get that we say Bold Strength Fitness. You said the website is being made, but Correction, Jesse's website is up and running. He can be reached at bestrengthfit.com. There's definitely a social media presence.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Is it
And we wanna
if
feed-
somebody
we wanna
wants to
feed
find
into
you,
that, yeah.
'cause we want to share. Jesse, people are gonna do this. This episode is not normal.
No.
I appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
And I think we should do the rapid fire too, for sure. End it with
All
the
right.
rapid
well,
fire.
okay.
Something
Let's
fun.
go out of here. Let's go out of this.
Yeah.
We're going to be done here in a minute, Jesse, but let's go out of this with just some fun questions about. Fernando's got a great little thing.
Just
to
for
do.
people to get to know you,
Yeah,
because
no, I
we're
love
gonna,
it.
we're gonna be sending. We want the Mental Edge people to go, like your page. We want people to, go find out about you. And this is going to be one episode that they can. You can use this to tell people about yourself, and we can use it as same thing. All right, so rapid fire questions. All right, they could be one word, and just remember, like, this stuff is just how you're feeling right now, and this is just talk. It's not like you're not going to be held to these answers for the rest of your life. You get it? You know what I'm saying? This is just it is what it is for right now. Okay. All right. Number one, who is the kindest person to you?
My wife.
Yeah.
Happiest memory to date? Probably very similar to question number one. I'm not holding you
Married in
to
the
it.
courthouse, so and I was on the run. It wasn't exactly.
I love
That's ballsy.
I love that answer. Go ahead.
The happiest moment of my life to this date would probably be buying my first house with my wife and kids.
That's great.
That's awesome. Great answer.
Marquee moment, man.
Yep. Favorite food?
Pizza.
Oh yeah.
All right. Most influential person in your life?
I'd say my friend, John Torres.
And what has he taught you?
Just to be rooted in God.
Nice, man. Yeah. All right. What is one guilty pleasure you have?
Binge eating.
He said binge eating.
Binge eating pizza, and
Pizza?
ice cream, and cereal.
All right.
Cereal.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch and
Yeah.
vanilla.
I don't know when you find time to watch TV, but if you do you got like a favorite Netflix show or
right-
something like that?
Right now, yeah, me and my wife are watching Mindhunter.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing
Season
about it.
1 or 2, Jesse.
I think we're on season 2 now.
Okay. I
It's
don't know.
getting
All right. Favorite dessert? Don't say pizza.
No, negative. Favorite dessert would probably be brownie a la mode. Or my wife makes tres leches homemade.
Oh, real tres leches?
For my birthday.
When we coming?
Real
when we coming by? Yeah.
Next birthday.
All
Hey,
right.
birthday's right around the corner.
Nice. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
You're already super strong, so what's next?
Yeah. What's next, man?
I think one superpower would be to see people's pain.
Dang.
Wow.
That's deep. All right. Something you like to do when no one's looking. We like to make these fun.
Dance.
Oh.
I hate dancing.
No, but you love it. You love it. You hate it, but you love it. Closet dirt. That's this
When
guy.
nobody's watching, I'm good, bro. When nobody's watching, I'm John Travolta.
no pressure.
Biggest fear.
Losing my family.
Okay. Wow. Can you do any impressions? You don't got to do them, but I just
No,
can.
I don't think so.
No. All right. Best thing that happened to you in 2020.
I quit my job and started my business.
Dope. Okay.
That's gonna be a tough one for people to
Yeah.
beat.
Yeah. If there's one person in the world that you could have coffee with, who would it be?
Ooh, that is deep. I know it doesn't have to be, but
Yeah.
one person in the world that I can have coffee with. Man.
It could be top 10. It doesn't have to be number one.
All right. We'll say Les Brown.
Okay.
I like Les Brown.
There you go. And what's your most used emoji on your phone?
Depends on text. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's serious though. My most used emoji on my phone would probably be the laughing thing.
The laughing.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
consistent.
we get. Yeah, that's pretty consistent. That's mine too. Who do you go to for advice?
That's a bad one. Usually, sometimes my wife. But
That's awesome.
yeah, probably no.
Okay.
You a deep
All
prayer guy too? Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get into it, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then this is the last question. If you had to leave Earth tomorrow and and everything that was on Earth left with you, okay? But you could leave 3 words on a piece of paper, what would those words be? They could be 3 separate words, or they could be
Like one guy, it was a phrase.
it could be a
He
phrase.
just, it was
be,
crazy. It was tattooed on his body, and no pressure, Jesse. You just search your heart a little bit if you have to, and be like, wow, this word means a lot to me. And
Yep. We're not holding any of these.
they
These
could
are
be your
just
kids' names. It's Jesse.
Yeah.
It's
anything.
It's everybody's been different.
Yeah.
3 words I'd leave.
Yep.
Man, that's
It's tough, man.
Yeah,
It makes me
it's
nervous
tough.
every time he asks it.
Because I'm like, what would
I mean, I think about your story, Jesse. There's so much perseverance. There's so
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
faith.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
I'd say faith, trust, and persistence.
persistence is
Which is
absolutely
which is the first word that he said
Yeah.
in the beginning of the show. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jess.
That's right.
Man. I appreciate you doing that with me.
Oh,
It's
man,
it's just
it's
a
fun.
fun
It
way.
was fun.
I feel like to for people to get to know you, and like I'm meeting you for the first time, but I hope that we can continue to grow from this. And I know Jay talks highly about you, man, and this was a really special episode, really different. It's awesome when you see a big guy that also is not afraid to be himself and show himself. Jay told me you were this guy.
Yeah.
Jay said
You can
you
tell
don't
you're
hold
genuine.
punches.
Yeah.
He was like, he don't hold punches.
Yeah.
And I feel like
I love you. Speak the truth,
Yeah.
Jesse. You do
Yeah.
not beat around the
Yeah, you don't beat around the bush.
because it's
and
useless. You're wasting your time if you don't speak the truth to people with love, but truth.
Well,
Yeah.
that and the same time, if I sugarcoat everything and they see me in this position where I'm at, like, nah, I'm down here. I'm from down here, but God brought me up here because
Yeah.
I've trusted and worked.
Yeah, you're almost
Love
taking
that.
away. You're almost taking away what he's done for
By
you.
shining
Yeah, making it
by
shiny.
sugarcoating.
Yeah.
Wow. Love that, man.
You got to see the dirt, baby.
Yeah,
You gotta see the
I
dirt.
appreciate that though about you. So
I
Give me
appreciate
some
that.
fist bump too,
Yes,
man.
sir.
We're about out of time, man. But Jesse, we'll end up having you back because there's going to be many stratospheres to your climb.
yeah,
Okay, so my name is Jay Casey,
I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
And I'm Jessie Casas.
and this has been
The Mental Edge Podcast.
We out. We out. We out. We out. We out.